So what about the Old Testament law? A lot of Christians wonder what of the Old Testament law applies to New Testament living. The Bible tells us though in Galatians 3:25 that when Christ came, we are no longer under the law. So do any of the Old Testament laws apply to our New Testament life? I want to give you just one simple rule about this. There's so much more that could be said, but I want to keep it simple. And that this idea is that there are three types of Old Testament law. The first type is ceremonial, and that had to do with the sacrificial system. When the Jews would come to sacrifice at the temple, Christ fulfilled all of that. We're not under the ceremonial law anymore. The other type of law is civil law, and that had to do with governance, just rules that the government would put into place to protect citizens. And where those would apply back then, some of those would apply today, but not across the board. And then finally, the third type of law is moral law. And those were things like in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal or kill or lie. Those things are morals that God has forever established. And almost all of the moral law is repeated in the New Testament. So a simple rule of thumb is we're not under the ceremonial law, we're not under the civil law, but we are under God's moral law. So as you look at the Old Testament and read it, and it's so valuable, just use those three simple ideas, those three types of laws to help you to kind of think through and understand what applies today and what does not. Thanks.